$20 and I'd take care of it, carefully writing down the invoice number. I thanked Kathy, hung up, crumpled the paper with the invoice number on it as I returned to my economics class and tossed the paper into the trash. Not even a week later, another unknown but local number called me while I was at work. I hung up on the customer I was talking to and answered the phone. I was right to do so. It was a person from another local store. She sounded desperate. She said that a pallet of pavers was supposed to be delivered by noon, but it was still in the store at 11:45. Don't worry, I'll take care of it, I reassured her and hung up. Over the next several weeks, I continued to get calls to approve things, which I always did. The final call was one from a store that was very familiar to me, an understaffed store with terrible service. The customer service desk called to ask me to speak with a customer. I told them I'll be in the store in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, they call and I say, almost there. 5 minutes after that, a familiar number hits my mobile display, and I say, just walking in now. The last call I ever got from any HD store was 5 minutes after that, where the store associate yelled at me to come speak with the customer now. I quietly replied, I would, but I don't work for Home Depot. I hung up and laughed my butt off. And yes, in hindsight, I should have gone in and told HD to call their regional manager, as I'd already paid for the jacuzzi, as I would be approving my own purchase. But hindsight, awesome. Keeping with it for as long as you did totally makes it pro. And our next story. Make me quit the day before my birthday? Have fun getting fired. Quick background. From 2009 to 2012, I worked at a local quick lube chain. Oil changes in under 20 minutes, only using a trusted oil brand, etc. Going into this job, I assumed that's all I'd be doing. Quick oil changes and the occasional tire rotation. I was wrong. Working for this specific chain, it's all about the extra services and products to bang customers over the head for that they might actually need, but not for double the price of the local auto parts store. Maintaining a higher average sale every month was very important for keeping your job. And just for reference, the district managers wanted all service techs to have at least a $60 average every month. The basic oil change was only $35. On average, we would do anywhere from 20 to 50 cars a day, depending on the day of the week, in a 3-bay garage. It's also worth noting that if you maintained a high monthly sales average consistently, you were considered better than everyone else and put at the front of the line for promotions. It was also very common for someone with a high average to go from a tech to being a manager of their own store within a year. Yes, there was a high turnover rate. And yes, it was most certainly due to management consistently hiring drug addicts and not running background checks on people. Now starts my story. Over the course of my employment, I worked my way up to being a shift supervisor. This was one position below assistant manager, but I still held keys to the shop and had the alarm systems code. I opened and closed the shop regularly, and if I wasn't too busy with college, I could have been an assistant manager anytime I wanted. Managers I worked with loved me, and the district manager as well. It was honestly a fun job. I made a lot of friends working there that I'm still friends with today. But then we got a new manager. We'll call Johnny. Johnny was a jerk. Younger guy, 25 at the time, thought he was hot crap because he held an $80 plus sales average consistently since he started. Some people considered him a blessing because he helped other techs get their averages up too. Turns out he only helped them to make himself look better for raises and promotions. Here's a quick list of things Johnny did once he took over my store. Consistently disappeared while working for hours at a time to go walk around talking to the local college girls. Left every Saturday, the shop's busiest day, 3 to 5 hours early, and would have someone else clock him out at the end of the day. I soon discovered he lived in the next town over from me and knew people that knew him. Johnny? A manager? Last time I saw him, he was so drunk he punched himself in the face till he bled. He dropped out of high school and ended up living in the park for a while. How'd he get that job with no diploma? He was bipolar, so screaming matches and temper tantrums became a regularity. He dumped a mop bucket filled with dirty water on the shop's floor as soon as I finished mopping it at the end of the day, because I pissed him off somehow. He got people that he didn't like fired by making fake schedules showing they were off for 3 days straight when they were actually on the schedule to work, and when the employee didn't show up for the shifts, he would write them up in secret for a no-call, no-show for each day, but didn't tell the employee until they came in for their supposed shift, and he'd fire them on the spot. If you want to argue, call corporate. And now my favorite thing he did often, that I walked in on him doing? Remember how I said he held a $80 plus average?